2024 has been a wonderful year for gaming, not particularly because of new releases, but because I've been retroactively playing through franchises that I've missed. And one of those games is It's not an exaggeration to say that this is the most immersive game I've ever played. Before playing Half-Life, I did a playthrough of Dead Space Remake, which, to me at that point in time, was the apex of game immersion. I am glad to say that DS Remake has been dethroned by this 1998 masterpiece. I am so jealous of the people who got to experience Half-Life for the first time back in the day. I can only imagine the level of mind-blowingness this game might have caused to the gaming community back then. Yes, the graphics are dated, but everything else holds up incredibly well. Half-Life is extremely self-aware of itself. It knows it is a video game, and it knows exactly what the player would expect from an immersive first-person shooter. There are no cutscenes in this game. Everything happens during the gameplay, and you can even miss some events if you're not paying attention. This kind of immersion, combined with great pacing and god-tier level design, results in a very intoxicating gameplay. At times I felt I was becoming a single entity with my keyboard and mouse. It quickly got to me hooked, and I absolutely devoured these games in a matter of days. The story is remarkably simple, but that works in favor of the gameplay, which is really what makes the game shine. You play as Gordon Freeman, a theoretical physicist who's going to work on his boring job, and then aliens. The story plays with the themes of corporations, employer versus employee, and control. You never truly know who really is behind the events of Black Mesa. Is it the aliens? Is Gordon Freeman actually free? I interpret this game as a huge domino effect. Everything goes to shite after the accident with the anomalous material, and afterwards, everything that can go wrong will go wrong in the worst way possible. It's like you're playing the video game equivalent of Breaking Bad. In the game, you find aliens, humans, flying babies, and ninjas. I think the enemy variety could be better, but the game makes up for it by putting you in all kinds of different situations. You never feel like you're doing the same thing twice. The game is also very fast-paced most of the time. Gordon moves almost like a projectile of his own. However, intense action sequences are usually followed by quieter moments of navigation and exploration. There are moments when it's just you walking through gigantic corridors with no traces of any kind of life, and I believe those moments are essential to establish the atmosphere and to create a sense of connection with the place you are exploring. The Black Mesa facility is like a character. You get to know more of it as you dwell further on its depths. Weapon variety is decent. I was running out of ammo very quickly during my playthrough, which resulted in awkward situations like having to use a sniper rifle up close or having to resort to use the alien cockroaches. Everything I said about Half-Life 1 can be applied to the second game. Released in 2004, it is way ahead of its time in all aspects. The gameplay is faster and more responsive, and the new physics engine really helps to bring more life into each of the environments. Overall, this game feels much more interactable than the first one. Maps are more vertical and open-ended. There are sequences with vehicles, which are the best parts of the game to me, and also some puzzles involving the vehicles as well. However, enemy and weapon variety is even lower this time around. You fight mostly humanoid Combine officers and their drones and turrets. But there's the occasional encounters with aliens as well, in case you missed them. There is a chapter with zombie aliens, which is one of the highlights of the game to me. The weapon variety, although it is lower than in the first game, but there is a huge but, and it has a name.
Give it a try.
Gravity gun. If this were the only weapon in the game, I would not complain because it feels so good to use. Bunking aliens with barrels, it's one of the most satisfying things to do. Also, the sequence that introduces you to the gravity gun is really well made. It's basically you playing a catch game / ball game with God. I remember being impressed by the robot's AI. It is better than anything I have seen in recent gaming. So yes, needless to say, Half-Life 2 is my favorite, although the game is a bit slow to start, but when it does, it is like getting a constant dopamine overdose. There are some moments that break the pacing with dialogue exposition, since there are many more characters now. But the game does a respectable job at developing the characters well enough to make you care about at least 3 of them. The plot is what you would expect from the aftermath of the events of the first game, and it starts in an analogous way. The game begins with you, Gordon Freeman, inside a train with no idea how you got there. The world is now under control of another alien species called the Combine, which enforces a brutal police state under the remaining civilians of Earth. The story follows the rebellion of resistance groups and the attack of the Citadel, which is one of the main headquarters of the Combine on the planet. Again, it is a simple story that works in favor of gameplay. I know this game is supposed to be like a post-apocalypse of some sorts, but the environments here look stunning. From the city to the beaches, the coastal shores and forests, it all looks pretty. It is the coziest post-apocalypse I've ever seen. There is also a sequence in the game that I think stretches for a bit too long. And no, it's not the boat sequence. I actually really liked the boat sequence. I am referring to the Nova Prospect chapter, in which you fly through hordes of the same enemies in endless corridors which all look the same, and the enemies are also the same. It just felt a bit tedious. Half-Life 2 is at its best when you see the Combine, the aliens and the rebels all fighting against each other. It is when everything comes together in orchestrated chaos. In summary, both games are incredible, and I made a terrible mistake by skipping this franchise up until now. The Half-Life universe is very compelling, it's full of mysteries and twists. The story might seem simple at surface level, but the more you stop to analyze it, the more complex it gets. Episode 2 ends in a horrible cliffhanger, and we have been left in the dark for almost 20 years. In that meantime, Valve released Alyx, which is a VR game set between the events of 1 and 2, and Black Mesa, a fan remake / reimagining of the first game, which is really cool. I still need to play Blue Shift, which is an expansion of Half-Life 1, but I am afraid to play it, honestly. Half-Life is the kind of experience you need to savor and take it slow, and I just haven't found the right time to do that. I've been thinking about streaming it. I think it will be cool to have that playthrough documented on the channel. So if you liked this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel to get more videos like this, and I'll see you folks in the next video. Bye bye.